Hello, my name is Johnny Koen and I live in Cape Town, South Africa. You can see the magnificent Table Mountain right behind me. I have an association with the wonderful sport of cycling which stems from 1968 when I started racing as a young boy. I turned professional and raced as a pro for 10 years, winning the South African national title on 2 occasions. Also won 5 other national championships in my career, and of course raced in Belgium for a season, as well as spending most of my cycling career racing in South Africa. I won 300 races as a cyclist and then turned cycling commentator. Well, and as a cycling commentator, I've covered many events in the last 18 years. Events like the National Cycling Championships, like the All-African Games on 2 occasions, like the Beijing Olympics and Paralympics, and of course, twice working on the World Junior Championships when they've been hosted right here in Cape Town, South Africa. Also did the Group B World Championships that were held in this wonderful city. It's been an absolute pleasure and privilege working with the likes of Paul Sherburn on a couple of occasions, and in particular so with Phil Liggett, the godfather of commentary in English terms. In particular so on the Cape Argus Pick and Pace Cycle Tour, which is also the biggest individually timed cycle race in the world. 35,000 riders all lined up on the Hertzog Boulevard. They're in fact going to start all the way down to 9 minutes past 10 this morning. What we're looking at here at 6:15. The elite South African men's riders will leave, and of course a pack of riders in the region of 150 all lined up. What they will do is alternate start shoots from the left, then the right, etc., all through the morning.
To watch the blue and white on the left here, because that is Aaron Brown getting the better of the sprint, and Hunter shakes his head on the right. Beaten this time, I think, because he probably led out just that little bit too early, I guess. Brown, a great winner.
Well, a tremendous ride there from Aaron Brown of the Med Scheme team. They've been the underdogs so far in 2009, formed at the start of this year. Well, I'm fortunate enough to be engaged on no fewer than 40 weekends of the year in my duties as a commentator. And of course, as a commentator, I do things like voiceovers for television, voiceovers for radio, reports for television and radio. I also present the SABC Pedal Talk show, which goes out once a week. And I do a lot of work, Master of Ceremonies, for various functions, in particular so the Cyclist of the Year, which I co-host with Phil Liggett on every occasion. The Burger cycle event is the last one of 2008. Very interesting race route over 98 kilometers. About 6,500 riders line up early this morning in Stellenbosch, and the big obstacle of the day is the Hellshoogte climb, about 3 or 4 kilometers, but it comes up very early in the race. Whether it's going to be a fact or not, that remains to be seen, but Neo tells Jacques Janse van Rensburg does look to be the race favorite. Well, 2008 was a great year. We had the Olympics, a new Tour de France winner, and the return of Lance Armstrong, but none the better than Phil Liggett, I think, to tell us what he thinks the top 3 highlights were for him this year.
Well, I have to be a little bit nepotistic, I think, John, because the UK did so well at the Olympics and at the World Championships. I've waited all my career.
And a historical moment in the mother city as we get the opportunity once again of hosting the UCI Junior World Championships. We did say in 1997 when it was only the track discipline that took part at this very Belleville Velodrome, but this time it's the track, the individual time trial at Wellington, and of course the road race happening a week after the start in Cape Town Central Business District. Well, absolutely perfect cycling conditions this morning in Pietermaritzburg. Overcast, cool, maybe no chance of rain. 106 kilometers in a brand new event, the Engen Dynamic Cycle Challenge. All the big teams are here. It's a downhill sprint, and Henriette Schoeman's already told us the event doesn't suit her as far as the downhill sprint does, but I wonder if Malcolm Lange can clinch the men's honours today. Well, in last year, Robbie Hunter, Andrew McLean missed the 100,000 Rand bonus by a minute. This year, certainly Andrew McLean and Graham Cronje cracked it by 3 minutes. A great ride from this duo on the tandem. With me, Andrew McLean. Andrew, 100,000 Rand for Pick and Pay's Race for Change. Warm feeling for you, I take it.
Very warm, especially after last year. We were really disappointed. We put in a big effort.
Well, the final leg of the Mazda NTN series of 2008 brings us to Mid-Mine, KwaZulu-Natal, and it's an absolutely horrible day for cycling. It's wet, it's cold, it's raining out there, but the big guns have all lined up behind us. They're going to start in just a few moments' time. Big names, Van der Merwe, Taylor, Evans and George, of course. They're not the only newsmakers in South Africa. These are the others. Well, it looks like a small break. A group of 4 riders now away. 3 men from MTN, Energide, Waylon Wilcock, David George, Kevin Evans, with the relative newcomer Dylan Girdleston of the Cycle Lab Toyota team riding with the big boys here. They're into the last half of the race now, and a time gap of only 15 seconds if we look back at the field. Not enough to stay away, but these are the big guys at the front. that's probably how it's going to stay. The Italians that always ride as a team, they get an enormous bonus from the Italian Federation if they win the medal, and of course Paolo Bettini, defending champions in that group, have been practically asleep. They've not controlled the race, they've let things happen. It's very hot out there and very humid. It's about 80% and something like 30 degrees. So the Italians are on a siesta of some sort, but I've just seen them come into life, and maybe in the last 2.5 laps they will really erupt and become something of a force. David George has had medals at the Commonwealth Games before, albeit in the time trial, and of course at the World Championships in the time trial as a junior, very skilled rider. And John Augustin, 49th in the Tour de France, 21 years old, and he's the guy, don't forget, that went up the biggest climb in the Tour first, then first to fall over the edge as well, but wonderful talent. Well, indeed, Phil, we don't know which of these two girls, Jenny Stenenhaag on your right or Henriette Schoeman on the left. Henriette's won 5 times before, maybe a 6th time for her, and maybe it's Jenny Stenenhaag's first win. But let's find out from the athletes' mouths. Henriette, it seems that you might have crossed the line first. What did it look like to you there?
Yeah, Johnny, it seemed like, well, Jenny was boxing with the guys and she had to break, and then I used the opportunity to pip her in the line. And
of course, a tremendous day, albeit a little bit damp, at the beautiful Chandelier Farm in Oudtshoorn. Let's take a look now and see how the riders fared in this year's event at this wonderful farm. Well, dogs, bicycles, all types of vehicles, in fact, down in Nelson's Creek. Been a tremendous edition of Pedal Talk, being great fun being with you. Until the next one, enjoy your cycling and ride safely. Well, did you know that in the bicycle business, much like in motorcycling and in motor cars, tires these days are all becoming tubeless. Even road racing bikes have tubeless tires available to them. However, on the mountain bike scene, it's pretty much the motorbike thing that it looks like. Big beefy tires, all tubeless of course, but you can go tubeless, you can go tubed. What happens when you get a puncture? Well, when you think of performance sports, think no further than carbon fiber, albeit motor racing, Oscar Pistorius or top-end racing bicycles. Superb substrate carbon fiber, really strands of carbon in a resin base which is extruded, giving you a super light, super strong, and of course a flexible, albeit a bit brittle substrate, but ideal for performance sports. As you can see behind us here, a rather strange blue device, which is not a rocket launcher inside a cycle velodrome. In fact, that's the start machine. It's the device which ensures a fair and even start to all of the competitors. Remember, folks, that if you want to get a mountain bike, you need to be one of those riders that wants to go off-road on the bike, or perhaps you're not very physically fit at the time, you want a nice easy upright position, then the mountain bike's for you. Well, in cycling terms, a light bike is always desirable, but you can't have a lighter bike than the minimum limit as far as weight goes, and I wonder why that is. We've got Mr. John McDonnell here, who's the principal commissary of the UCI Junior World Championships, and we'll ask him exactly why. So in horse racing, they weigh the jockey, but in cycling, they weigh the bike. And why is that?
They do. They have a weight of 6.8 kilograms, which is the minimum weight, and there's a number of reasons for that.
Now, as one of the big characters of the sport yourself, you've always appreciated cycling characters. Name a couple of these for us.
Oh yeah, well, I used to have nicknames. I don't know, Johnny, you remember, I'm sure, the names that I had for these riders. We had a guy by the name of Dries Oberholzer, also a Springbok cyclist. And of course, he was an electrician by trade. So of course, I just called him Dries Os Benoni Bombshell Sparky Oberholzer.
I remember a guy by the name of Julie de Becker. He was one of those really rough characters. You didn't want to meet him in a
open situation.
In an open situation, or late at night. And he said he turned to George Eastman and he said, "Who's this kid?" And I thought, well, you better get to the front. These oaks are going to kill you.
Een van die grootste van alle legendes, Tommy Shardlow. 2 Olympiese medaljes en 'n goue by die Statebond spele. Beter kan jy nie. With all of these wonderful achievements, the Olympic medals and Empire Games medals, national titles and that, what do you rate as your greatest achievement as a cyclist?
Starting off when I was young, I won 6 South African titles at PE.
This time we're down in Port Elizabeth, no wind whatsoever, but we're with the legend of note. 1967 track Springbok went to the World Championships, the mayor of PE for many, many years, Martin Edward Charles Neft. How are you doing, Marty?
Johnny Koen, lovely to see you again. Come inside, man. Let's go and have a look what we can
Wonderful.
talk about.
Now, Martin, the one ride in your career that stands out to me, 1973, the Pilgridge Stadium 1500 meter South African Championship final. Boy, the goosebumps are back, I tell you. Well, that's unfortunately all we've got time for in this week's edition of Pedal Talk. We're with the legends of the pedal, all of the top names in South African cycling. We wish that you've enjoyed the show as much as what we have, and we'd like to wish you all a tremendous and merry, merry Christmas and a very, very safe cycling year in 2009. From Johnny Koen and all of us at Pedal Talk, we wish you a Merry Christmas. We wish you a Merry Christmas. Wish you a Merry I really look forward to making a contribution to your event and to hearing from you. Please do so on info@velotex.co.za on 2721 447 9973. Until the next time, goodbye.